to FQ League. I'm Scott, your lead commentator, and I'm joined today by the one, the only, the legendary Finexi. How you doing?
Hey mate, I'm good. Thanks for the great introduction once again. Um, we are in Miami.
Absolutely, around the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, USA, one of three US rounds in the 2023 calendar. Um, this is a track which divides opinion, I think, in terms of whether it's good for F1 or bad. I mean, it promotes good racing with the DRS zones, but a lot of people argue that maybe it could be swapped out with a track such as Watkins Glen. What are your opinions on Miami?
I mean, I like it as a track to drive on. Obviously, it's a very nice flowing track for me. The Sector 2 chicane, many people say, it breaks apart the flowing of the track, but I think it works just fine. And we are looking at dry conditions for qualifying. And I think that's going to be just great to see these guys throwing their cars around, especially that high-speed first sector.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, and very high speed track this, of course, but there is that technical second part of the lap, which is really quite tight and twisty. So you kind of got to get that balance right with the setup. Um, so we've got our first person out onto the track. It's Big Boris 19 in the Mercedes,
Yeah.
and no one's following him as of yet. So he's clearly just put his setup straight on. Wants to get a lap in early.
Yeah, it is looking a little bit overcast, so who knows if some rain might be arriving later on in this session.
Ooh. Well, it'd be nice if maybe for drivers in
But
chat they can tell us what the
yes,
forecast is, not only for this session but also for the race, so we have a better idea. Unfortunately, the game doesn't have a way that spectators can see that information. Um, I mean, if the race is anything like it was last week, we're in for an absolute screamer because last week was incredible.
yes,
So much happening, we couldn't keep up, and it was Lance in the end who took the victory. So yeah, even if we get half as good a race as we did last week, it will be really exciting and entertaining.
yes. And last week obviously went all the way to the final corner, where
Yeah,
Skip made the overtake for the lead, but not the win because he had that 5-second time penalty. Then he'll definitely be looking to win this time around. But do you want to take us around the lap on Big Boris?
well, yes, I was just on board with him, and he's warming up his tyres, coming towards the final corner, and we're going to go on board with him for what will be the first lap in qualifying. On the power, final two corners flat out over the line, open the DRS, keep the car on the left hand side for the first corner. You want to just clip this curb. He goes a little bit wide and conservative there, and you want to get the power down as early as possible around this long right hander, and then into this flowing section similar to like Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone. Use all the curb to try and hook the car in and really carry the speed. He does it nice and cleanly, and then this is a really tricky corner to get right. You're always drifting wider and wider. Double apex, good exit onto the first of the straights. Obviously goes purple because he's the first man over the line. Opens the DRS, do the flat out left-hander we go. Towards a really heavy braking zone. Brake between the 100 and 150 meter board, clip the apex on the left-hand side, and then keep the car on the right before getting back on the power. Right hand side, bring the car back to the right hand side, and then you want to use all this curb to minimise your distance. Straighten out the exit onto this really long straight, which will take you alongside the motorway as he overtakes a couple of back markers. DRS wide open using all the ERS mode. Another heavy braking event between the 100 and 150 meter board. Clip the apex on the left, get the exit, two flat out corners, past the pit exit and across the line, and we're going to get our first lap of the session for Big Boris, and it's a 29.8.
Yeah, and Cody's gonna come next in line. He had a purple middle sector himself. What can he do? It's 29.6, so 2 tenths between the top two as it stands.
Yeah. So I'm just going to cut to our pole sitter from last week, Stevie. He's looking to have another strong qualifying like he did last time. Didn't quite work out for him in the race. Oh, it's wide. He's kept his foot in for now. We've still only got those 2 laps on the board. Clearly some people with some invalidations.
Golf Maniac, I believe, is going to be the next across the line with a lap. Mistaken.
Golf then.
Swamp goes 4th.
Yep. Oh, Quad End and AJ go 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So we get Golf across the line, looking to redeem himself after the stinker he had in Monza, and he goes P5 with a 30.9. So it's Cody on provisional pole for now in the AlphaTauri.
Stevie Purple in Sector 2 now coming down the final straight.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time in Sector 1. Is his Sector 2 going to be enough to give him that provisional pole still? And a little bit wide in the final corner. Gets an okay exit. I think it's going to be not a great banker for him, but he still goes provisional pole by 7/10 of a second. I think there's a lot of time still left in there from the Alpine man.
And his teammate about a second off through the middle sector.
Yeah, and Skip goes second to him too, so what looked like a scruffy lap from Stevie, still good enough for pole. As it stands.
Might not be for long, as his teammate Nick Fuhrman coming around the final corner. As I said, about a second up in Sector 2. Can Nick provide a lap that would be hard to beat for anyone as he comes across the line? Yes, he can at 27.8.
1.1 seconds ahead of his teammate, and an Alpine 1-2 yet again like we saw in pre-season. Can anyone beat that? The race winner from last time, Lance, is on a lap now in the McLaren. Can he provide a challenge to the 2 Alpines? He gets the car hooked up lovely on that hairpin. So quite a nice lap so far. Williams gets out of the way, uses all the curb. See what the sector split is like. He goes purple on the minimap, if that is to be believed. We know that can be a little bit dodgy at times.
Yeah. And world 4th fastest with 29.4.
Good
now
stuff.
We await Lance to come through the final corner. That looks very, very tidy indeed. As he comes round the final bend, it's flat out up to the line, 29.4,
So
4th fastest.
Just edges out Rob and pushes him down to 5th, and Lance goes 4th, which I think you'll be happy with. And there's definitely time in the lap.
Nick Fuhrman, 127.8, and that is one hell of a lap.
As we've got Axel Ross currently on the lap, he's one of 2 himself and Simi not to have set a lap time yet, and it looks like he's going to finish this one. Just goes through the middle sector now, through the tight, twisty part underneath the motorway, or highway as they call it over in the States. Feels so heavy, those cars through there, because there's so much weight and they're so wide, but you just got to try and carry as much speed as possible. There he goes, purple on the minimap again, but I don't think that's to be believed. Because I think at this point everyone's gone purple through the middle sector.
Yeah. Gone purple for themselves. Axel was coming across the line. Now it's a 29.1 and it does put him 3rd fastest.
It's a good lap from the Ferrari man, and giving the Alpine boys something to think about there. And then the last man to not set a lap time yet is Simi, so right on board with the Alfa Romeo kick driver as he makes his way around the S section towards the start of the lap through the double left-hander, hooks up the car nicely to the apex.
Gonna get a nice slipstream from the Ferrari.
Oh yeah, lovely little slipstream from Axel Ross there.
So for reference, Nick's split time in that sector 2 was 1 minute 2.7 if I'm not mistaken. So
Okay, so 1 minute 2.7 to beat for Simi. What's his split time going to be through sector 2? He's 4/10 down. That was
1031.
that.
That is not a bad lap so far.
It's not. If he can keep that up through the final sector, he's going to be about P4, P5, up there with Skip and Lance.
Yeah, and this could be absolutely great for Simi.
It
As he
looks
comes
like
through
a
the
clean
final
lap.
corner, but it's a little bit scruffy through the final corner, but now it's just foot to the floor, up to the line, and what can he manage? It's
Fourth.
29.2 and it's 4th fastest.
It's a good lap. Possibly helped out with that slipstream he got from the Ferrari, but he won't care at all. That's P4 as it
Cody
stands.
is 6 tenths up on for a front row here.
That's a brilliant lap from Cody. He was the first man to take provisional pole.
Yep.
Can he take it back?
Can he? Yep. As he comes through the final corner.
He does indeed. Opens the DRS one last time during the lap, and he goes P3. Not quite breaking into the 28s as of yet.
Yeah. And all eyes on Stevie as well now, because he'll be expected to match his teammate. Through there is Golf and McLaren have a bit of a, or Red Bull, sorry, have a bit of a moment in Sector 1.
Who was that? Was
a
that
bit of an
quad end?
impeding
Yeah,
moment.
it was quad
I
end.
believe it was, yes. I was just on board with Golf looking at his lap.
Golf is still pushing, so he clearly thinks that it's worth. Oh, and the other Red Bull now. The other Red Bull has got in his way, and he looks to have.
He won't be happy about that one.
He's still going for it, his Golf, bless him, after being impeded by both Red Bull drivers. He's still a second up on his previous time.
Up, yeah.
So that just begs the question of how much more time could he gain if he hadn't have been held up. He comes down to the final proper corner on the racetrack.
Yes.
Hooks it up nicely, gets a good exit, keeps it in third gear. And we're going to come across the line with Golf, and he will go P10 into the top 10 for the Haas.
Yep. 29.7 with a bit of a... with a few impediments here and there, but we know now that he has more to gain on, and Skip is on a lap, but I don't think he was improving through the first sector.
I'm going to go on board with Stevie, because he's the man that we are expecting to challenge his teammate. Just for anyone watching who doesn't play the F1 game, these cars are all equal performance, so the teams they're racing with is just for Constructors' Championship, but there is no performance difference between the cars, so that's why we've got an Alpine 1-2.
Stevie first sector a 30.0, while Nick had a 29.9, so he is a little bit down his teammate, but he's improving.
Okay, well, let's see what he gets at the second sector line. And that's invalid.
That's invalidated, yeah.
Unfortunate for Stevie, although his bank is still good enough for P2. As we've got Lance about to finish a lap in the McLaren, coming through the final corner now. Can he get back up the sharp end? He can, yes, P2. He can. Good stuff from Lance there.
Gonna be Warber next to cross the line. Out of the final corner he goes. Gets good traction up to the line. And it is the fastest.
Yeah, so these lap times coming down, track evolution quite high by the looks of it.
Nick's starting another lap now, so...
Yeah, we're going to get Big Boris. See. Big Boris pits, I thought he was starting a lap. But Nick Fury man on a lap, so let's stay on board with him, as this could very well be the pole lap. Right in front of our very eyes. The Alpine duo have been the story of the season, I guess, so far, especially in qualifying.
Yeah.
With the one lap pace, their team seems pretty unbeatable.
But the first sector for Nick, he's slightly up.
Marginally up.
And Nick obviously needing points after Monza where he DNF'd. form a crash, and we know he has the determination to be back up there, and he wants to be there in the race as well as in qualifying. But qualifying on pole, it's never hurt anyone, and he's invalidated, sadly.
Yep, so we're running on board with that lap, which was looking good until he cut the course. As we have Rob on a lap, but he's run out of ERS, so this is not going to be...
is on an in-lap, I believe.
In-lap. Is Quad End on a lap?
Also an in-lap, I believe.
Everyone's pitting,
So
other than the people on out laps, so...
The next one to start a lap, I believe, is Simi and AJ. Simi starting now, and AJ is a few seconds behind him.
Simi currently sitting P7, will be the next man to set a lap time. Good banker lap from Simi, and it looks like he's got quite a good pace around this circuit. It is a circuit that can suit drivers more than others, especially with the big mix of different varieties of corners.
If you get your setup If you do get your setup right here and you're comfortable with it, you have a very, very big advantage, and Simi showing us that is might be the case, as he's 2 tenths down, but with probably time to gain over the rest of the lap.
He's still pushing. Is Simi as a cut. So AJ, who's 3 tenths up on his lap, so AJ on an improvement. As we would expect AJ to be further up than he is right now, considering he was on the podium in Monza.
Yeah. But he's been saying he's not too confident with this track, but it's AJ, so I know he can prove something out, and it's 6 tenths improvement so far.
Yeah, so that will put him roughly P8 as it stands. Can he nail this final sector and gain a few more tenths? He hooks it up well. This could be a nice lap for AJ, the commentator for Division 1 of course, and he comes across the line, and it is P8 like I said, so
yeah,
not a bad lap at all. The two Div 1 commentators stuck together in 7th and 8th.
Yes, and as Steve is starting a new lap, he's in Sector 1 as at the moment. It's a little bit scruffy for him, and he's still at 10th up on his old time.
Yeah, who's he got in front of him there? The AlphaTauri of Cody, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Cody also pushing
a little bit of a toe from the AlphaTauri head.
Yeah.
As if we go on board with Stevie, we can see both drivers and how their laps unfold. Stevie will want to not invalidate it here again, and he doesn't. He keeps it a little bit safer. Wide there, unfortunately, a little bit of understeer. 2 tenths down on his previous best. He just can't seem to get a good run. The pole sitter from Monza is not having anywhere near as good of a session today. As Cody comes across the line now. Where will this put him? He's P5 right now. He will go. Stay P5, doesn't improve.
Rob goes 3rd fastest. Or not Rob, sorry, Stevie.
Stevie
went... Golf went 3rd fastest. Huh?
Stevie did go 4th, but then Golf... sorry, 3rd, and then Golf passed him.
And Golf, yeah.
Only 2 milliseconds
on the track
behind Lance, so that's very close. Who else should we be looking out for? Axel Ross in 7th place, currently on a lap. We've also got...
Skip is on a lap.
Yep, Skip on a lap. The next car to cross the line will be Big Boris coming into the final corner now in the Mercedes.
Yeah, he'll be looking to improve from 13th up the grid. I'm just on board with Skip to look at his sector time for Sector 2. 12
goes Big Boris just ahead of Swamp Mouth. And it looks like the next person to cross the line will be Lance. Into the final corner he goes.
Skip only a 10th up as it stands.
Skip's struggling here, which is it's not like him. He's usually right up the sharp end, and Lance improves, but it's not enough. He stays second place. Axel Ross goes P3 then
Fastest.
with a great lap. Skip P8,
Skip.
and we've got
And
Golf on
just
a
still on a
lap.
lap, 3/10 of an improvement, as it stands.
Yeah, Ange will be the next one to cross the line with Nick close behind. Can Nick improve on that lap that already guarantees him pole position pretty much? So I don't think anyone's going to get near to that. Ange doesn't improve his position and Nick doesn't improve his lap. So I believe that is everyone.
That is qualifying, yes. And a great banker lap from Nick Fuhrman puts him on pole.
Yeah, it was all he needed to do. Still 3/10 up on the nearest man, who is Lance, our race winner from last time. So another strong session from Lance, and
Yeah.
consistency like that will put him in a really good place in the championship. Obviously, he's our
Yes.
current championship leader, of course, after winning the first round.
It's all about the race now, and these guys know it as well. Especially Nick knows it. He was on the front row last time and was P11, I believe, after the first lap. So he'll have to be very, very careful and just take his opportunities as they come.
Very true indeed. As we wait for the AlphaTauri mechanics to wheel AJ into the garage, and we will get the final rundown. As that is your pole man, Nick Fuhrman in the Alpine. Another pole position for the Alpine gang. I believe they took pole in Monza, did they not? Yes, with Stevie.
Yes.
So it's a pole each for the two Alpines. So this is your order. Nick Fuhrman takes pole in the second round of FQ League in Miami by a quarter of a second to Lance, your race winner from round 1, and Axel Ross in the Ferrari rounds up the top 3. Then we have Golf, Stevie, Rob, Cody. Rob and Cody still can't be split in positions, I believe. That's the second race in a row where they've got father and son on the same row of the grid. Then we've got
Also
Skip.
Simi and AJ.
Yep, Skip. And then Simi and AJ, the two Div 1 commentators, stuck together. Ange, Big Boris, Swamp Mouth, and Quad End rounds up the grid for the race. So all 14 drivers only split by 2 seconds, which is really close.
Yes. And it will be interesting to see. No rain for the race, as it looks like.
So unlike last season, where you were saying how it was a fully wet race, it will be a fully dry one this time with blue skies all round.
It will be. And obviously now that we have done qualifying, who do you think are the favorites to win the race?
I think if Nick gets away well and gets into P1 after turn 1, I think he'll have the pace to pull out a pretty reasonable gap on the guys behind. But then again, this track can be a hotbed for mistakes, so it's all going to be about keeping it clean. It really is anyone's game, and it'll be interesting to see what tyre strategies people use, whether they go for the softs or the mediums to start, and favour the faster stint first or second.
Yeah, and especially Div 2, we've seen a lot of safety cars. A lot of safety cars on lap 1, lap 2, so going on softs might be a good strategy, as Lance on the soft compound tires as is Golf from the top 4.
Yes, I'm just going to get that up on screen now. So yeah, we've got on the medium tyres we have Nick on pole, Axel Ross in third, Stevie, Rob, Cody, Skip, Simi, AJ and Boris. So most people deciding to go for the mediums, and then it's Lance, Golf, Ange Hamid, Swamp Mouth and Quad End. So only the 5 drivers on the soft tyres. Lance clearly wants that couple of extra meters at the start to maybe take the lead on track. And the same with Golf as well. Maybe they think they've got a bit of pace in hand in the race and they can use that tyre advantage in the first few laps.
Yeah, and something we also didn't do last weekend, we need to pick out a driver of the day at the end of the race.
Yes, I realised we forgot that.
But
I mean, my driver of the day was Lance last weekend, so there we go, I said it. There's your driver of the day for round 1, revealed. So, yeah, we've got a good race in store, I believe. These guys are always great racers. They all want to win, and they all have the capacity to win. and so that means the racing is always very close in this division.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick and Lance pull away at the start, if because Lance on those soft component tires, he'll be looking to get away well and maybe lead already into turn 1, so
Yeah.
then it's up to Nick to just stay with Lance and use the soft tires at the end to catch up and overtake.
All Nick needs to do, really, is just hold on to Lance's DRS if Lance gets there at the start. But obviously Nick, being a racer, will not want to lose that lead. He'll want to stay in P1 even with the harder compounded tyres as they start to form up the grid. Do not want to make a mistake. As Stevie does, he gets disqualified. He's going to start a little bit further back, unfortunately for him. Cody does the same, and so does Big Boris.
So we wait for Quadrant to line up on the grid.
So we don't have a particularly great camera angle, but I'm going to go on board with Axel Ross to see the top 3 at the start, and before we can cut to a better third person angle, as we get 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Miami Grand Prix, and it is a good start from our pole man. And Lance, even on the soft tyres, gets a pretty equal start to Axel Ross behind.
Yep.
And then, there's contact in the back with Golf and Rob, and then down the outside goes Stevie taking advantage, and Simi's getting involved. Couple of winners and losers there already, with contact at the first corner. We've got Rob and Golf still battling it out. Rob looking to... and we've got Simi off the track, and it's all going on now. Around the outside goes the McLaren of Ange Hamid, who can't quite stick it out, and they're going to continue to go wheel to wheel, I believe. They are. And behind, there's a 4-way battle here for 10th place with AJ. Oh god, it's all kicking off.
So Rob is getting
as Rob gets past Golf, and Big Boris looks to go down the inside. Down the inside goes Quad End. It's 3 wide, and Skip takes advantage, goes past Big Boris, and AJ. AJ and Quad End make contact there, and they're not going to go side by side through the chicane. So you got Quad End goes wide and makes contact. Unsafe rejoin a little bit there, I think, for Quad End. Skip then gets past the Red Bull, and they're going to go 3 wide again.
As Axel Ross and Stevie are side by side in the final corner.
Yeah, Stevie down the inside. Great start from the Alpine man after a dismal quali from him. He's already up into the podium places.
So Skip has damage, we believe, and Skip and Quadrant have gone together.
Is out, and that's a safety car.
Out of the session, and it's a safety car.
It looks like what we knew before. 4 into 1 does not go, and a car is off in the barriers, and it is the Red Bull of Quad End out of the race on lap 1, with Skip and Cody coming in with front wing changes for both drivers. So will the soft runners come into the pits and put on hard tyres? That is the question.
Medium runners as well, because the hards definitely will go to the end. Yeah,
so are we going to see everyone box, or is someone going to try and keep that track position on the tyres they started with? So we'll go through the winners and losers from the start. Stevie up to P3 with first and second staying where they are. Axel Ross down 1, Rob up 1, Golf down 2. Swampmouth with a great start, up 6 to P7. Ange Hamid up 3 to P8, and then Simi and AJ somehow in all of that staying where they started. And then Big Boris up 1, and Cody and Skip down 5 with Quad End out. They will now form up behind the safety car, and we'll have a restart after a few laps. Hectic few laps, but this track with its long straights can be quite a slipstreamy DRS heavy track with a lot of overtakes, and especially in the first lap with everyone slipstreaming off each other. No one wanting to.
Lance is in.
Lance decides to pit on the soft, so I did say we'll see the soft tyre runners start to pit.
In as well.
So the two McLarens decide to double stack. No one else, by the looks of it, is going to pit. Is that the right call? Have the two McLarens made the right decision there? There's clearly a team decision from the two. They're wanting to go to the end on a set of hards. They've both gone to the hards. As has Cody and Skip, who came in for the front wing changes. So we now have the two McLarens, Cody and Skip, on hards. Everyone else on the tyres they started with.
I would say it's absolutely the right choice to box for hards here, because the hards will go to the end, and if there's not another safety car or VSC, you know, the pace difference that these guys will have at the end of the softs just won't be enough.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that he's only down in 10th, Lance, and if he can make up places on the slower cars in front of him quite quickly, then all he needs to do is not make any mistakes, and he'll come out quite a bit ahead of Nick when he pits if there are no more safety cars.
And now it's a 1-2 for Alpine, so these two definitely want to now work together, work in a DRS train just to get away from the two McLarens now who are running 10th and 11th. So it's going to be a team game, almost Alpine versus McLaren here.
Yeah, so in real life these two teams have battled for P4 in the Constructors' Championship, and now in FQ they're battling for the win of the Miami Grand Prix, with Nick and Stevie currently 1 and 2 in the Alpine, but Lance and Ange in 10th and 11th on fresh tyres, not having to make another pit stop in this race. Formed up just in the back of shot there, in the papaya orange McLaren. This is going to be a fascinating Grand Prix from here on out. Lance looking for his second win in a row, of course.
Interestingly, Skip onto the medium tyres. He's boxed again, but this time onto a medium set of tyres.
Possibly he thinks that the mediums, I mean he was last anyway, so he maybe thinks that the mediums will go to the end and it'll give him a bit of a pace advantage. That's going to be a bit of a headache for the McLarens on the hards, because once he forms up he'll be a little bit quicker. As the leaders' tyres will now be 3 laps old, compared to only 1 lap of the two McLarens. So we're going to see a bit of a pace difference. We just got to wait for Burnt Mylander to get out the way. So off that start for Nexi, who do you think did the best job at avoiding everything and getting into a good place?
I think the obvious answer is the two Alpines. Obviously Nick getting away perfectly and leading the way until the safety car, and Stevie making up positions to now be right behind his teammate in P2. So I think those two did really well to get up the field as well, and Swamp Mouth as well in P6 at the moment, doing very well. So it'll be an interesting race from here, definitely with the strategy offsets that we have now, as I believe we'll go racing this lap.
Yes, Skip has rejoined the back of the field, so we should get the notification from race control very shortly that the safety car will be in this lap. As we should get it around about now when we cross the line for the 3rd sector, because that's usually when the game decides to give it out. And we do. Race control has said safety car will be in this lap. Now, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think there's going to be many games played at the front with the two Alpines leading. So I can't imagine there's going to be a change for the lead there. Stevie will probably just want Nick to drag him along with him away from the Ferrari. As he slows the pack right down. Back of shot, Lance and Ange on those hard tyres, looking to go for the win. It's going to be interesting how this plays out, and now Nick has bolted. And his teammate close proximity to him, but they haven't left Ange completely. Axel Ross completely. The Ferrari is still on their tail, with Rob behind, then Golf running out the top 5, still on those soft tyres, so they won't be long before they come into the pits and put on the mediums. And then Swamp Mouth with that amazing start. Currently, the point scorer, the only point scorer for the Williams team.
Yeah, and it looks like Nick is pulling away here. I think Stevie might not be able to match this pace that Nick is putting up right now, and obviously it's perfect for Nick, but it's not that great for Stevie, who's now kind of vulnerable to Axel Ross behind him.
Yeah, Stevie's already used 50% of his ERS just staying within that slipstream, but he has pulled the gap back to half a second, so maybe Stevie running a little bit less downforce than his teammate, to enable him to get that top speed.
Yeah,
But then
Lance makes the move on the course.
So Lance makes his first move in his surge through the field. Obviously, on that offset strategy, he's going to have to make up positions on track before everyone pits ahead of him. And the quicker he can do that, the more chance he has of taking the second win of the season.
Yeah, and you can definitely see Stevie not now gaining as much, so maybe using a bit of ERS on that back straight there to
Very
gain
possibly.
on Nick. As we have yellow flags in Sector 3, there's someone
Golf.
around, and that looks like Golf and AJ. Not AJ, but Golf.
Yeah, it was Golf. I think it made contact with AJ as Lance is now going round the outside of AJ, taking advantage of that contact into 7th place, and he's going to get the move done. Those hards working well for the McLaren man. His teammate not following him through as of yet, but he's making really good progress. Next man up the road for Lance is the Williams of Swamp Mouth.
Yeah, and Axel Ross really now closing in on Stevie. He's very, very close,
Yeah.
2/10 now. And down the straight, I have a feeling that if he does dump his ERS, he might be able to get past, but he's not using it as it stands. But he might have to go for the move anyway.
He's
with
going to
Axel
try
Ross
it around
into
the
next corner.
outside. But Stevie's later on the brakes and he keeps the position, good defending, and the Alpine 1-2 stays intact for another lap at least, and Stevie's doing all he needs to do. He's still within that 1 second to his teammate. I'm sure there's got to be some team orders going on here. Maybe Nick not push in to allow Stevie to keep that DRS. Because this is great points for the Alpine team, the constructors, if they can keep it like this.
Yeah.
This is actually your closest battle on track for second place. Axel Ross only 3/10 behind Stevie.
And DRS gets enabled now, so definitely Nick probably lifting off a little bit just to allow Stevie to have that DRS, because otherwise he would be falling into the clutches of Axel Ross, and I think Nick is the one controlling this pace at the moment.
Absolutely is. Axel Ross gets a snap of oversteer coming out of the first corner. That's going to drop in time and allow Stevie to pull away, actually to over a second. So he's going to have to be careful that he doesn't drop out that second at the detection point.
Oh, and it's another snap, and that might have just lost him the DRS.
It's 1.4. This is the perfect scenario for the Alpine boys. Axel Ross has dropped out of that DRS as we have Lance 3/10 now behind Swamp Mouth for 6th place. Really critical that Lance gets these moves done quickly. Is he going to open the rear wing? About 20 kilometers an hour extra straight line speed he will enable. He's using his overtake mode to try and get the move done. Can he go down the inside? It's a late move. It's a good move. Swamp Mouth hangs him out around the outside, but using the fresher tyres, Lance is going to get it into the chicane. They can't go side by side through here, guys. And they keep it clean, bit of contact. And I think
clutching, but that
this is all costing Lance.
They probably could have done.
Yeah, this is all costing Lance valuable seconds, but I think he will get him now with the slipstream and the DRS.
Stevie's going down the inside of Nick into the final corner, and he's gone very, very deep.
Oh, Axel Ross behind, gets a snap, and Stevie briefly taking the lead from his teammate. So maybe there isn't as much team orders here as we thought. As he's going to have another go into turn 1. Down the inside.
Yeah, and this is just hurting the two Alpines. They're losing time to Axel Ross behind. But more importantly, they are losing time to Lance.
Yeah, so Stevie now leads the Grand Prix with his teammate in pursuit. The Alpine 1-2 has switched around, and Lance has got that move done on Swamp Mouth. We did miss that with the battle for the lead going on. And he now moves up into 6th place. And he's only 9 seconds off the lead right now with a pit stop, I believe, around here, about 22-23 seconds.
Yeah. And Nick looking to get back on his teammate. He's now coming back through Sector 2, and he's going to make the move before the braking zone.
Job done.
The two are
Or is it?
Stevie's coming back at him though. They're going side by side through the long right-hander. And now Stevie's going to give it up. And it is a 1-2 still for the Alpines. But look at Axel Ross now. Look at how close Axel Ross has gotten because of this battling between the two Alpines.
Yeah, they're just slowing each other down. And now Axel Ross has got a really nice run. But not as nice as Stevie did, actually. Stevie got a really nice exit out of that final, well, not final corner, but that corner. And he's going to go back down the inside on his teammate. So this battle for the lead is not changing. Axel Ross
as well.
Oh, Axel Ross might get the move done here.
Could be a great move. Great opportunity.
Oh! And there's contact. And Nick is out of the session again. He is DNF'd, and it's a VSC as Rob takes P2 in this race. With
that looked
Stevie
very
in the
much
lead.
like a mistake from Nick.
I'm not sure. I mean, they were side by side, and the space just seemed to go into one, and we know 2 into 1 do not go, and that's going to benefit Lance hugely. He's them to P5 now, only 6 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, and it is a virtual safety car, so probably no point in pitting for Stevie because he won't make it around in time before the VSC ends. So now Rob in P2, Axel Ross back in P3, but probable damage from that huge crash into the wall.
It doesn't look like he's got anything in his front wing missing, so he may have got away with that scot-free, which is pretty lucky for him.
Yeah.
I mean, those three were fighting really hard, and it was always going to end in tears at some stage with them battling that much. And unfortunately, for the second week in a row, it's Nick Furyman who comes out second best as Golf. Gets a drive through for speeding under the VSC. That's another dismal day. Turns even more dismal for Golf Maniacs.
Yeah, as Lance is now going for the move on Simi on this back straight with the RS, and Lance now looking better and better to win this race. Yeah,
Lance in a great position. Everything kind of falling his way, and he's making no mistakes. Just as his Monza just quietly clocking the laps, moving up the grid on those hard tyres. That's all he needs to do. And I tell you what Stevie needs to do now is push like crazy. Yeah, and especially with Axel Ross still behind Rob here, he's trying to get past, but no point in doing that. As Rob now running in P2, Stevie just needs to put his foot to the floor and just go. Yeah, it's 2.2 to Rob, but I feel like Rob is holding Axel Ross up very slightly through this first sector. That gap growing all the time between first and second place. But you will assume the Ferrari will get the move done with the DRS open down this long back straight. Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to assume here, and going into the next braking zone, it's going to be a hard braking zone. And ooh, is that a bit of tap there? I don't know. Axel was making it around the outside, making that look very easy. But this might open him up to something down the back straight. And look behind him in P4, only 2.4 seconds behind this battle, and closing all the time is Lance on the hards. We know he does not have to make another stop on those tyres. It'll be a tough one to the end for him, but he'll definitely can make those tyres last to the end. And someone else we haven't mentioned on those hard tyres actually is Cody. Currently he's running P7, and also in a position where he doesn't have to stop again. I'd say he's in a great place too. Just getting overtaken by Skip on those mediums, who maybe doesn't need to pit again, but I doubt the mediums do 19 laps. Yeah, as Rob trying to come back at Axel Ross here. He's only 2/10 behind. He has a look, but doesn't quite manage it. Excuse me. Simi keeping the DRS with Lance, and closing the gap on the two ahead of him. So Lance and Simi with really good pace right now. The gap grows in the lead to almost 4 seconds. Stevie doing all he can after his teammate was wiped out the race to try and salvage an Alpine victory. But at the moment, it looks like with 9 laps to go, it's gonna be a mammoth task on those soft tyres to catch back up to Lance. Rob is back past Axel Ross. Cody hits the wall on the straight as a cut to Axel Ross and Rob going side by side into the chicane, and Axel Ross muscles his way back through.
Yeah.
And all this is doing is costing them time, though. I mean, the gap grows now to over 4.3 seconds, and Lance is now within that DRS.
But someone as well who we haven't quite mentioned, but it's Simi running in P5, and he's keeping up with these three in front of him.
Yeah,
very well, and he's still one of those mediums. He still has to pit, but he might be in good position for the people who need to pit.
Absolutely, he had a good qualifying, and he's had a really clean race so far. As we have our first medium pitter, and it is Rob from 3rd place, and that releases Lance back up into the podium positions.
Yeah, and I think that's a smart call from Rob. He was in that DRS train and
AJ
not
as
moving
well.
anywhere, and this undercut might gain him a few positions.
As Rob comes out on the soft tyres, of course, as we expect, and AJ also puts on those soft tyres. Where will Rob emerge? Let's watch him as he merges back onto the circuit. He's going to be just ahead of the McLaren of Ange in 9th place. So let's see what kind of pace, what kind of undercut these soft tyres have, because the undercut can be quite powerful. So maybe that's what he was going for on the Ferrari. And we've got a move for P2, and that is Lance getting past the Ferrari of Axel Ross.
Flying past.
He is on a charge.
Yeah, and something as well, there has been no penalties so far. So that is very impressive. Apart
from Golf's drive-through, we've had no steward intervention at all, and no track limits warnings. Well, no track limits penalties anyway, as that is Axel Ross in the wall.
That's damage.
Front wing end plate off for the Ferrari man. So it's unfortunate.
You would think that this means box for Axel Ross, and I think this is also box for Stevie.
Yeah, we've also got to remember that it is possible that Skip will not have to stop again in this race.
Yes.
Race leader pits. Just under 6-second advantage as already Lance goes past. It's hard to see him captured now. Stevie's going to have to do qualifying lap after qualifying lap.
Yeah, and those hard tires really need to fall off a cliff. It's very important that he comes out in front of this Swamp Mouth Rob battle.
It looks like he will just... he's got ahead of Swamp Mouth behind Boris, but he'll get that position straight back in the DRS zone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Stevie basically P5 then, as he gets really close to the back of the Mercedes.
So AJ has undercut Axel Ross then with that front wing change.
Yeah, Axel Ross's race really ruined by having that extra stop time. About 5 seconds extra stop time when you change your front wing, and that's dropped him down into P11 now. So shame for him. As we're on board with Stevie going for a move now on Big Boris. He switches to the inside, and it's a pretty simple move really on the soft tyres. Yep. Back up into P5.
At the end of it, Stevie only 12 seconds behind. So definitely something that could be done here.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got 7 laps, and he is 12 seconds behind. So
yeah,
he needs
very
laps
doable. Now. I will monitor Lance's lap times as well as Stevie's.
That's our closest battle on track. Currently, Rob on Big Boris in that DRS zone. The only two in DRS range of each other.
Yep.
At the moment.
That's Simi's pitting.
Simi pits from 3rd.
From 2nd.
From 2nd.
Yep. Rob 31.4, and AJ 31.2, and those lap times are 3 seconds faster than what Lance is doing.
Yeah, you can see the undercut is so powerful, and Lance on those tyres is going to need every bit of pace that he has got, as Stevie cruising now up to the back of the AlphaTauri of Cody. He's gained a second then. Cody's wide, and he's got the move done before the corner.
Yep, and gap only 10 seconds now.
This is game on. Stevie versus Lance for the win. Although Cody's going to come back at him,
Right. Yeah.
The worst thing that could have happened for Stevie there really was to lose the DRS.
Yeah, and you don't want to overtake before the long back straight as well, because And Cody gets the DRS onto the back straight too.
Yeah,
But
that's a cut, I would say, for Stevie.
yeah, that
He's got to
probably
be
was a
careful of
warning
those.
there.
And he will get the move done now.
Yeah. Very, very simple. But Lance really struggling out that pace. I mean, his last lap time a 34.3, and it doesn't look like too much better this lap. It's gonna be at 34.2, so he's in the 34s while the soft ones are in the 31s.
I mean, he is trying to take those tyres like 17, 18 laps.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big ask to keep pace now, because they're going to be starting to scream at him a little bit, especially compared to these brand new softs that Stevie has on.
Axel was 31.1, Stevie in the 32s, but he was fighting Cody, so if Stevie can get past Skip without many problems, then I think this is very much on.
Look out for Rob, who goes round the outside of his son there, and he picks up a penalty for multiple warnings.
That's not what you want to see, and Cody again down this back straight might get a move done.
Ooh, it's close between the two of them, and Cody once again, after making a mistake at the start of the straight, takes the position back. I do think maybe that detection point needs moving deeper into sector 1 a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a different discussion, and we've got way too much happening on the track to be discussing that now. We've got Axel Ross on the back of Ange Hamid through the middle sector, and he's pushing him through the chicane basically there, the Ferrari man, and he's going to get the move done quite easily with DRS enabled.
Rob is looking for the move on Cody as well, going for the switchback in the final corner. That is absolutely beautiful from Rob, and now he needs to keep it down this main straight where Cody will have DRS. And he will go back down the inside.
But surely, around the outside with the extra grip, Rob will be able to take him, and he does. Lovely move, and he will now.
And Stevie's going for the move on Skip. Has to back out of it, but he was alongside as I switched through them. So Stevie gaining very, very rapidly, and
Stevie will get this move done. You imagine?
Yes. But will he do it too early again? I think that's the detection point there, so he will get DRS as well here, and this spells bad times for Lance, who Lance is still in the 34s, 33.8 his last lap, so he's picking up the pace a little bit, but with Stevie doing 31s, it could be a very, very interesting end to this race.
What will decide this race is how quickly do those softs drop off. We know the dead ground here can be quite high, especially on the rears with so many low-speed traction zones. Can Stevie keep those tyres alive enough to continue putting in these 131s, 132s and close that gap? The gap currently sits at 6.3 seconds, and it is going to be a last lap dash, well, not last lap dash, but a last kind of sprint finish, if you like, in these last 5 laps.
As AJ is going for the move on Swamp Mouth, as the battle from 6th to 9th all in DRS of each other, as AJ makes the move up to 6th.
Swamp Mouth almost into the back of AJ, and he wants to be careful with Simi behind. Simi stops a little bit later than the guys around him, so he's going to have fresher tyres. He can see the track position because everyone undercut him, but he has got fresher tyres now. And Axel Ross, after recovering after that wing change, right on the back of these three, and they are nose to tail through the first sector. Look at them. Is Simi going to go for a move into the S? He's so close. He has a look. He doesn't quite go for it, and they're all over each other, and Axel Ross goes wide. And that's a lock up from the Williams, and Simi's down the inside. Doesn't quite get the move done.
Might have compromised himself there a little bit.
As Cody, AJ at the front of this train is going to get done by his teammate by the looks of it, and possibly even Swamp Mouth.
Cody's got from wing damage from that. He tapped the wall and he has lost an end plate.
Yeah, Cody has had damage for a while. I think he tapped the wall before. And they're still side by side, the two Alpha Tauris, and AJ gets the position back. So well played from AJ to get that place back.
And gap at the top 4.4.
Yeah, so 2 seconds a lap on average faster now is Stevie on those soft tyres. As it looks like we're going to have a move here, maybe Simi on Swamp Mouth, and also Cody on AJ again. These two can't stop fighting, and AJ just can't seem to pull away from Cody enough to stop him coming back at him, and there's contact between the teammates, and AJ once again around the outside, but that means, I believe, that Cody's going to get the
Cody will
DRS
get
again.
DRS, yes.
Simi gets past, and Axel Ross now, past the
Yeah.
Williams of Swamp Mouth. Swamp Mouth tries to defend his position down the inside, but the soft tyres mean
Smith from
that
Cody as well in sector 1. That was a nice move.
lovely move.
Opportunistic now. And looking at AJ as well, maybe overtaking him. Ooh,
The Div 1 commentators, so close to contact.
Yeah.
And we go on board with Simi, he's not messing around, he wants to go for the move. A little bit too early, I'd say, because now AJ will get that DRS.
Yeah, and side by side, so AJ will get the place. But interestingly, Stevie exactly 2 seconds faster than Lance on the last lap, and if it goes like this, it will go down to the last lap once again.
We could not have more drama in this race. For a completely dry race, it's been very, very exhilarating so far, as Golf sets the fastest lap of the race down 40 seconds off the back of the pack, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, and Simi definitely going to be looking for a move down the back straight, as it's Axel Ross, who is right behind Simi as well, so this battle for 5th is definitely an interesting one. As Rob is gaining on Skip as well.
And Axel Ross looking at Simi too. I mean, Simi didn't have a good run through that. Simi did not have a good run through that final sector, and he's got the Ferrari all over him, and there's contact, and Axel Ross hits the back of the Alfa Romeo. And Simi will just want to stay within that 1 second window to AJ. As we have Swamp Mouth looking for a move on Cody, just not quite close enough on this occasion. And Rob on Skip now. That's probably going to be our first overtake of this lap, as Rob is now on those softs within DRS. Although with that 3 second penalty, this move may be for nothing.
Yeah, and I think the softs are starting to die out now. Stevie on the last lap only 7/10 faster than Lance.
It's going to be close.
Could it be too little, too late for Stevie, or can he pull out something from the back still on these final 2 laps?
A lap and a half to gain 3 seconds. I don't know if that's possible, as Rob down the inside of Skip. Skip's hanging around the outside. Off-track limits, I'd say that was from the Williams. But he keeps his position. Further back, AJ and Simi still 5th and 6th. Axel Ross looking for the move. So close there, he was thinking about it into there, but you know cars cannot go side by side through that chicane cleanly, as these three still locked together.
Rob going for the move on Skip now, down the inside.
I think Skip will let it happen, considering Rob with that penalty.
Yep.
So Skip doesn't defend at all, Rob goes past, and we have the leader and second now split by 2 seconds, and we are on to the final lap of the race. Lance on 17 lap old hard tyres, Stevie on 7 laps old soft tyres. 1.6 now the gap.
It's going down all the time. Lance made a mistake in the first sector. Oh, he's off. Lance is very slow through the first sector, and this is perfect for Stevie. He needs the DRS down this back straight if he wants it down the main straight.
He's about half a second too far back right now. He does not have the benefit of the DRS. Speaking of the benefit of the DRS, we've got AJ with Axel Ross and Simi all over his gearbox here. And AJ doesn't have anything to defend with in terms of ERS, so this is going to be possibly the move for P5 for the Ferrari man. He pulls to the outside, late braking from AJ. They're still wheel to wheel, and now Simi's going to say, oh, and there's contact as he tries to hang it around the outside. AJ's pushed wide, Simi and AJ make contact, and Axel Ross skips up into 5th place.
The gap at the top 1 second going into the final corner, but I think it's going to be 2 for 2 for Lance Fenton, who's made a bold strategy work here, pitting under the safety car and making those hards last till the end. It's been an amazing challenge from Alpine and from Stevie, but it's going to be Lance who goes 2 for 2 here in Miami, and he wins the Miami Grand Prix in Division 2. It's going to be Rob who comes home 3rd in on the track, but he's going to be demoted to 4th place as Skip, less than 3 seconds behind him. Axel was 5th, AJ 6th, Simi ends up 7th. Cody and Swampmouth going very, very close to each other on the final straight. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Cody who
by
gets it.
200ths there for 8th place.
Yeah.
But like you said, faultless drive yet again from Lance, did not pull a foot wrong, and in the end the winning margin was only 8/10. But the gamble works, the hards from the first safety car, and probably the VSC stopping Stevie's progress for half a lap was the difference there today.
Yeah.
As we're waiting for Golf, our final finisher, to cross the line in the Haas in P12 with fastest lap, and he will take the flag, and that was a hell of a race.
Absolutely stonking once again, and around the track, as boring as Miami, as some might say.
Well, it's certainly not short of an overtaking opportunity or two, that's for sure, with the DRS zones, as we have our podium man for the second time, second race running. It's a victory for McLaren, it's a victory for Lance Fenton, and he takes a commanding lead now in the Drivers' Championship, and he's got to be fancying himself.
Yeah, I mean, definitely now 2 wins out of 2. It's going to be a healthy lead at the top of the Drivers' Championship. Who is your driver of the day?
That's a good question, but I'm going to have to say Lance again. I think it was faultless, really. I don't think anyone else really matched his level of performance. To keep that pace on those hard tyres was amazing from him, and we're going to go through the final standings before we get kicked off the screen in the lobby. So we've got Lance Fenton from second on the grid to win by 8/10 to the Alpine man of Stevie Mack, and then it's Skip, Rob, Axel Ross, AJ, Simi, Cody, Swampmouth and Anshamid top 10, all point scorers. Big Boris, Golf, your other 2 finishers, and then DNFs again for Poleman, Nick Furyman and Quad End. Who was your driver of the day then?
I would go for Skip. I mean, he's went on those mediums for almost the whole race, and he's ended up on the podium. It was great drive from him, apart from Lance as well, and yeah, I mean, I would go for Skip, but I can't argue against Lance.
Absolutely not. That was a faultless drive from as we've got some chats. Thank you everyone for chatting and interacting with us. A lot from Yuki, who I know obviously from over on Syncade. So thanks Yuki, as usual, a very passionate supporter of league racing, and we love to see it. So we've got some love from Dablo for Skip. A lot of Skip supporters in chat. I think he's a very popular character.
Very, very much. I think all 3 of our podium sitters are in the voice chat and want to be interviewed, so
Okay, we'll just head straight in and do it now then.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Evening. Hi guys.
Right then. I guess I'll start with the P3 man, Skip. It was a hectic race for yourself. You were on a similar strategy to Lance, going to the end after the first safety car, but you decided instead to pit again for the mediums. Why was that your call?
Hi guys, sorry for my English. I don't have the official translator.
It's okay, don't worry about it, mate.
Lance is too quick today, and I am too slow. I hate this track. I hate. It's very difficult for me ride around this track. I have difficult in every corner. I don't know why I am P3. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, getting an P3 at a track you hate is got to be a good sign for the rest of the season. So, congrats on your P3.
Oh, thank you.
And
Oh yeah. I'm. En wat zou mijn CD? um, I. One moment.
Yep.
Just one moment. Google, don't help me. Okay, Google told me I would have seen for the P5, P6, P7. The P3 is for me is a miracle today. It's a good result.
cool,
Yeah.
nice one. Thank you very much for your interview. And a very well deserved P3.
Thank you guys.
So over to you, Finexi, for P2.
Yeah, so Stevie P2, it must sting a little bit. You had the pace today to win as well, but talk me through your race and especially that last stint on the softs where you were gaining and gaining all the time on Lance.
Yeah, for a change, it just feels good to be in a podium. I'll admit this is probably, I think, since I've started sim races, it's probably the first podium I've ever had. So yeah, Nick will tell you my reaction at the end was, yeah, I think anybody who's currently in the block probably heard me. So yeah, but yeah, that last stint on the softs, I came out behind Big Boris, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I caught him quite early in the sector one, and then I just kind of let the tires do the talking after that. Once I cleared Skip, once Nick told me that Skip had already pitted, I basically then got the head down, got past Skip, and then I was just kind of managing the gap to Lance, managing the ERS all the way up to the final lap, and then it was a case of on the last lap, that big back straight, burnt it all trying to get the DRS on him down the front straight, but obviously that would have been handy if we had an extra lap. But yeah, I can't fault Lance today. He pulled out a brilliant strategy, just pitting under the safety car for those hards. Me and Nick did think about it, but we stuck to the strategy. It's unlucky for Nick as well with whatever incident he had. But yeah, it's just showing that us Alpine boys have got a bit of pace this year, or this season anyway.
I mean, for sure, you guys have been up there the whole season. What surprised us in the commentary box a little bit was that you guys actually were still fighting after the safety car and not just pulling away. Was there any discussion of team orders there, or were you just going for it?
So the first time I sent it on him, I actually missed my breaking point. So I apologise to him on the voice chat. But then after that, it was a case of we were trying to kind of work together using the DRS to kind of get that gap on Axel Ross. But then I think it was coming out the final corner, I sent it a bit deep on Nick, which then kind of blocked him off on his entry, which then allowed Axel Ross up the inside of him.
Yeah.
And I believe there was an incident after that, which then Nick DNF from, unfortunately. So yeah, I did apologise to Nick in the voice chat, but the plan was very much to work together using the DRS trains on the straights just to kind of pull the gap on Axel Ross. And hopefully kind of stand us in a better stead of beating Lance, because once we clicked on that Lance wasn't going to be stopping again, Lance we knew was going to be the main threat.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on P2 and
you
on
very
your
much.
first podium as well.
Yeah,
and,
thanks, man.
Yeah, back over to Scott.
Yes, okay, so making a habit of this, Lance, aren't we? You're P1 man today, and 2 from 2. That's got to feel pretty good, right?
Oh, incredible. I mean, last week it kind of fell into my lap. This week I had to do a bit of work for it, but no, the Alpines were incredible. Even during qualifying, Nick's lap was just incredible. At 27 was just, I couldn't even believe it. And then during the race, I don't know what happened to Nick, but I'm sorry I wasn't racing him, because he had the pace. But what is it? Stevie was just right up there. Incredible pace. I don't know how I held him off on those hards.
So obviously you made the decision. It was you and your teammate who were the only two people without damage to come in during that safety car. Obviously Skip and Cody also came in, but they were changing front wings as well. So you decided as a team to double stack. Was that a discussion you had between yourselves?
I'll be honest, it wasn't really. It was because we were in different voice chats. But no, I decided, like I was tentative the whole lap, and it was the fact that how close Stevie was, made me go in, because I knew that like whatever I would do trying on the softs to go at Nick, I wouldn't, or I'd also have Stevie behind me trying to make my life difficult. So I said, you know what, I'll pit for hards. At least I'll have clean air then maybe. And get my head down and kind of push and make a gap and see what happens. I didn't realize how well that would pay off mid-race. That was an incredible gap, but Stevie's softs really came into their own near the end. That was an incredible race from him.
Well, yeah. Once again, a faultless drive from yourself, and that is, like I said, 2 wins from 2 and 50 points to put you even further ahead at the top of the Drivers' Championship. So, massive congrats, and hopefully see you back again next week.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Right then, Finexi, who do you say we shall dub Driver of the Day, as we missed it last week?
We did miss it last week. I mean, we had differing opinions here.
I'll leave it up to you. You can decide.
I
You
said
are Driver
Skip,
of the Day,
you
man.
said Lance. But I think I'm gonna give it to Skip on those mediums, definitely to the end, and to get a podium from where he started, I think is nothing more than amazing. Everyone drove a great race today, but I think Skip was, I think Skip was one step above today, so I'm gonna give Driver of the Day to Skip.
An excellent,
Thank you guys.
excellent
Well
choice.
deserved.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Congrats
with that.
to Skip for Driver of the Day, and congrats to all of our podium finishes. All incredible drives from you three and the rest of the grid as well. Action up and down the pack. Definitely kept me and Finexi on our toes throughout the stream. So thanks everyone for watching, and we will catch you. Well, FQ and Simi and AJ will catch you at 8:30 for Division 1 round Singapore. And then myself and Finexi will catch you next week for round 3 of Division 2. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.